Hey you guys, this is the second round of crossover GB finals. Starting out in a tank, we're up against Wolfpack, very tough guild. Off the bat, getting 400 points from looks like probably totems. They must have had a good totem grab, and we didn't. And so that's very important, getting out early. I always lag at the beginning. I don't know what that is. It's just always hard to get out the gate. So any player that is able to get out very quickly and go grab a totem is at a huge advantage. And you should definitely have your players who lag the least to do that. Generally, I am one of the least laggy players, so I don't know why, even with the new computer and everything, it's still hard for me to get out of the gate. Maybe there's a trick to it or something. So here at the Northwest Totem and trying to fight to claim it up against Gruntar and Seinotaku, somebody whose name I can't read, and Lobi something, and Faye. And so see, especially a lot of Gruntar, or at least he's the one I end up in battle with the longest. Gruntar is quite tough and has always been floating around Warlord's Hall for the mages. He's won Class Wars several times in the past, but currently I think he just sort of floats around and gets into Warlord's Hall. Good enough for him. So at the moment I'm at a big BR and power advantage. Of course, I potted up for this. I wanted my guild to do well. I also wanted to be as efficient as possible, so why not spare a few pots to make that happen. Grab the tank. I want to take out some stuff. Tassin is in a tank. We did assign him to one, and in retrospect, probably not a great idea. I wanted some high BR players in there. Tassin is generally very good in a tank, and I knew that he wouldn't maybe survive a long time there. Thought he might last a little bit longer. They had some really strong players in the tank, so really there's no point in anybody for us under like 3.5 million BR to be in a tank. They're just going to get wiped out by these big BR players that they have in the tanks. And my tank gets taken out. I end up hopping into Robin's later on when she's fighting and taking out some more, but it is a bit tough to deal with because Wolfpack is so strong, so they don't really have anybody who 1 versus 1 is going to hold up that well against me. Maybe Rono if he worked on his will crystals a bit, but at the moment, I think even with the big BR and the big merge sylphs, he's not going to hold up that well against me because he doesn't have enough reduce res. So overall, you know, I hold up very well against them, but they just have so many people who are strong. You know, some of my guildies were saying, you know, they have people who are collecting crystals who, you know, are stronger than the people that we were trying to keep in totems. And so just way too strong. You know, they can put these heavy hitters in the tanks and be super aggressive against us in those. Whereas for us, if we allocated, you know, 2 or 3 of our very top players, myself and Robin, to be in the tanks for long periods of time, we would lose the totems very easily. There's no way that we would be able to keep them. So it's a tough balance and strategy of just trying to manage, and you know, I thought we could do pretty well here, especially we had a guild merge recently, so Crazy Train came over to Shockwave and have joined us, and it's been a really good addition. Bunch of very powerful players, and also just keeping things more active, more players to MP and everything. So it can be a little bit hectic for somebody who, you know, generally helps with things like Narendera Remains and whatever, but otherwise I think overall it's a great addition. But yeah, so we're looking good here. Before, you know, the number of participants we had almost never had a 3 in front of it. You know, never hit 30 or so for such a long time. And now, you know, we have a stacked guild. We have a solid 40 players, I'm pretty sure. And so that's fantastic. And it helps us hold up a lot better here. You know, Kong 1 is so powerful. I think they're also merged with Kong 14 at this point. I think that's how they got Rono in the mix. Yeah, so I see somebody from Congregate S14, but also S1, and so just a super powerful bunch, and very difficult to deal with. I'm sure we'll see them in Chaos War at some point as well. I think Chaos War to a certain extent is even more intimidating because then you get Ray 7 in the mix. Ray's in a different guild than these guys. I would not want to... don't even want to think about how bad it would be against them if they had Ray. But here Gruntar gets me in a tank, and this turns out to be the longest fight of the bunch. You know, I don't know if Gruntar was on just, you know, stall Elia duty or keep me busy duty, but I do fight him a lot. It might have just been that we were assigned to a similar tower, so we're in the same area, and he just ended up being the one fighting me a lot. Could go either way, but right at the moment I'm in a tank, so he clearly, you know, went after my tank just to stop me from doing damage in it. And so then they just collect more and more people into this fight. Here Tapper comes to help me, and yeah, Ariel comes in half health. Almost got Gruntar here, but once Ariel's in the mix, it's a little bit tougher to finish him off. And I'm chaosed. Very buggy at the moment, so it's the longest fight. It's also the buggiest fight. The hide other objects button, when it's all cloudy like this, will not show my class player, and then when I go into Sylph mode, it just keeps me in Sylph mode. So right now, I have Hecate next to me, and I'm in Hecate form. So, I don't know, Wartune, just so buggy right now. It's very frustrating with the hide other objects for somebody who records. I think it's frustrating just for anybody who plays, but then, like, you know, it's the worst idea ever, because, you know, I can't, even if this thing actually worked and prevented all this lag that it's supposed to prevent, there's no way that I can use it in a recording. So it's totally useless to me. It really has just been getting in the way. Now they have a third player, Lopey Pop Kid, that's how it was, I couldn't read it before. Almost dead, actually. Look, got my heal rune. Going for an AoE. No Tapper, I think Panda, even though he has a skill showing, is probably dead. Here I have Gruntar. Got him. And Ariel left. Of course, right as I'm getting close to killing Ariel, they get a fourth. So this, I mean, we're getting close to the 200% damage increase, so this is, you know, well over 4-minute fight. So yep, they get a fourth player, but my bird in shining armor, Robin 7, is here to help me. I think I was alright on my own, but, you know, doesn't hurt. She's not stuck in battle with me too long, so it's not like we're both stalled for an extended period of time. Robin and I spoke briefly about Sylph choice here. I was feeling pretty good with a Dark Sylph at the time. I didn't feel like I was moving too slowly because I was using a Dark Sylph. Here, taking out Rono's tank. I don't know, he was being super aggressive here. Maybe he was just surprised to have anybody shooting at him, finally. But yeah, Robin thought maybe she should use a different Sylph than Dark to move things along. I did put my water pet on my kid and moved my... Usually have my magical attack set of gear, or my second best set of gear, on my Athena, and then put Athena on Panda. But this time I actually moved it over to the water pet in case I wanted to switch to a water Sylph if I were struggling and felt like Dark was not working. But Dark felt fine, so I just went with it. There, Mikey with his Wind Sylph. He's picked up that Wind Sylph and seems to like it recently. Back up to Northwest where Gruntar is waiting for me. So yeah, these guys were definitely assigned to this tower, no doubt about it. I have this glow around my tune, which I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it probably just adds more lag, but it's from being like the top placing Titan War team or something like that. So there's a little bit of glow. It doesn't show in Sylph mode, but when I'm in class mode, it definitely does. There's my kid's fancy Centauria, which is totally pointless, by the way. Maybe once it's level 8, it will actually increase, but I made it a level level 6 Centauria, thinking, oh, maybe it'll go to 8%. And no, at level 5 it's 7%, level 6 it's 7%, and level 7 it's 7%. So I don't know if you have to go all the way up to level 8 for it to actually improve, but anyway, I had a lot of chests that I could exchange because opening them was not super beneficial to me. It was it's the B Soul set of chests, so those are not super helpful for me. So I decided to just exchange and waste a bunch of chests on Books of Wisdom for, I don't know, a good laugh, and that's what I got in return, a Centauria that is different looking but does absolutely nothing different. More and more Dark Sylphs. Scoon also with his Dark Sylph. Maybe I should have asked to have a Light Sylph on him. There, Everton, one of the players who came over from Crazy Train. He should probably not be in a tower, though. But that's okay. That Delphic for the archers really got nerfed as far as the stun goes. It's supposed to be like a 50% stun rate, which there is no way it's 50% for that Delphic, but I guess that would sort of trump influence and all of that stuff, so it's been nerfed quite a bit. Here, helping where they don't really seem to need help, but later Rono comes into the mix. Yep, there's Rono. So he's from S14, so at some point they must have had maybe a guild merge or something. I don't know how long Rono's been in the same server as Wolfpack. Not totally sure how Kong works. I know they have very few servers, and so they do eventually merge them, but it looks like it took them a really long time to do those merges. Upcoming Odin Delphic, there it is. And big damage. The ball one's out. Mikey just barely surviving. Medora was okay. Guardian Rune, of course, helping, but she probably has the best resistance of the other three. And taking out Rono. I don't know how good his resistance is, but my reduce res is quite good, so even with Dark on, I should be pretty good as long as they don't have several level 12 crystals and pretty good dimensions on. Here, dropping in to help Artie. Doesn't need me though. These silly clouds. This game, I swear. So dropping down to the south totem. These guys don't really need me either. I saw it, you know, it wasn't claimed, but they managed just fine. Tatius, Star Shooter, both quite strong. Val, good support, mage support, but maybe would struggle against a lot of the Wolfpack players. So back to the left. Rono again. And Mover is, I mean, I've seen Mover for such a long time. Again, this is such an old server that it's, you know, I mean, these names are so familiar to me, and yet I don't always know where they are BR wise. You know, people are always in flux. You know, how much they play and how much they cash and whatever. So I don't have a great gauge. I feel like Mover is probably a very strong player, but I just cannot keep track of everybody. So. Who knows? Rono switched over to a Frigga. As far as dealing damage to me, it's not actually Frigga's probably worse. My water and wind resistance are probably similar to my light and dark resistance right now, and Frigga deals MDef, so technically, I mean, not deals MDef, deals magical attack, M damage, and so technically I should take less damage since I have more MDef and stuff, but who knows. There, he's in night mode now, but showing still in Frigga. And I think there was some good game. You know, it's definitely, they have like 9,000 points or are very close to winning at this point. So we know sort of the end result, but since we can't you know, once everything is over, we can't say anything. Try to get it in early. Definitely. You know, I didn't totally know where the scores were at or how much time we had, but I wanted to beat Rona before we got kicked out of the battle. Not totally easy task, seeing as this darn shield takes a while. I mean, he's a knight, he has tons of HP, so, you know, regardless, it takes a bit to break through one of those things. Almost there. Another shield, so many bubbles. Maybe I should have just gotten out of stealth mode earlier, but I don't have anything big. You know, I have Ice Bolt, which deals decent damage, but I didn't bring Thunder, so I wouldn't be able to deal that much magical attack anyway. So there, I got him. But we're down. That's the only totem we have. We're 4 lost, and that's it. They get the points, and so yeah, we take a loss, and that's not a, you know, a huge deal. I think to a certain extent it was expected, even though we have the guild merge and all of that stuff. I think everybody did a really nice job, especially for our first time. You know, lots of new people and trying to figure everything out. We did just fine. So we'll be playing Slap and Tickle, which is Chili Max Guild, next week, and playing for 3rd and 4th place. So hopefully that goes well, and I'll definitely be recording. So take care, you guys, and have a very good day.